When we talk about organizational change, we have to talk about behavioral change. And behavioral change is often the stumbling block. It is hard to change behavior, and it's even harder to make behavior stick and become habits that are aligned with new company objectives or new strategic objectives. That is where if-then plans come in, and role modeling can play a crucial part. When we talk about role modeling and organizational change, there's often a connection laid between leadership behaviors and doing the right thing. And it's always said, you have to role model, otherwise people are just not going to copy. But when you dive deeper into this, it's exceptionally hard to know which behaviors to role model as a leader and how you can make sure that these become habits for yourself and to make sure that these will become habits for the organization too. How you can encapsulate values, culture, norms with that. Easily said, do role modeling. It's harder to do it. That is where if-then plans come in. So if-then plans are described and researched extensively by Peter Goldwitzer, psychologist. He often refers to them as implementation intentions or if-then plans. If-then plans, the easier term, so we're going to use that. And basically what it comes down to is it is almost a protocol. It's almost a logical statement where you tell yourself or you tell someone else, if situation X occurs, so the surroundings, the environment, then I will do behavior ABC. So this sounds stupid almost. It might sound a bit too good to be true, but over and over, we've seen data that suggests that this is a very effective way to build habits, to role model, and to evoke behavior change. Now, why are these if-then plans so beneficial? Well, they help you identify in exactly what context you want to perform new behaviors, which is incredibly important. We call this contextual specificity. If you don't have that, it's really hard to know what behavior you have to do when. It also simplifies behaviors. If you practice if-then plans, if you note them down, if you discuss them with your team, if they become ingrained in company culture, it will help you execute these behaviors very easily, even under stress, because they will have become habitual. So that is the last bridge here. If-then plans can be a crucial tool. Of course, not the golden answer or the only thing you need to do, but they can be a very crucial tool in creating habits and also sustaining role modeling. So let's dive into it. How can you use it? What does it look like? What are the protocols? The first thing you have to do when you're creating if-then plans is to pinpoint what the desired behavior is that you actually want to change or want to evoke or want to habitualize, and also in what situation this or what context this behavior has to occur. So, for example, let's say we're in an organizational transformation. One of the key pillars is psychological safety. We want our managers to practice active listening during their meetings with their team. Now, this is where you can start developing the if-then plan. You need a trigger or a prompt, if you will, which is the if, and you need a follow-up, which is the then. So the prompt here could be, you're a manager, someone in your team, you're in a meeting, someone in your team starts talking, they start saying something, they provide their input, they're speaking up. The then could be, this is when I, the manager, pay full attention. So I'm not emailing, I'm not on my phone. I verbally acknowledge their input, appreciate that they're sharing, make sure that they know that their input is appreciated. And I will paraphrase to confirm that, we understand each other. If someone says something, you can say, oh, well, first of all, thank you for putting that out there. And if I understand it well, you think it would be a great idea if we put this whole presentation on SharePoint after the meeting. Is that right? So, and again, this is an easy example, but it's very, very crucial that you ingrain it in this if-then format. Make sure that the trigger is immediately seen. We're in a meeting, someone starts talking, and that the then plan is a logical follow-up. This sounds easy, but believe me, it is something that requires a bit of training and requires a bit of repetition. So how can you rehearse these? How can you make sure that this turns into habit facilitation and that it sticks? Well, there are multiple things you can do. We often found that role-playing these exercises can be very helpful. So you take your managers, you go through some real-life scenarios, and you just let them do it. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but repetition can really be the mother of all learning here. You want the brain to really understand, to really internalize, to be plastic about this behavior and to adopt it. So Role modeling can be great. You can also have train-the-trainer programs, or just a detailed manual or some type of cheat sheet that will help them create these if-then plans. Writing them down is even more effective, and then apply them in real life. And of course, you can measure this stuff, monitor progress, discuss hurdles, ask the managers and ask their managees, how's it going on active listening? Is your manager paraphrasing a lot? Are they acknowledging your input? And the manager, you can ask the manager the same. Is your team actually bringing input? Are they helping you create these if-then plans? So here you can see that the underlying structure, the if-then plan, is quite easy and simple when you say it like that. But the process around it does require a bit of effort. But when you insert this effort in a structured way, you can increase the chances that these new behaviors, active listening, could be whatever, are adopted as habits. So last step is you can share these if-then plans. And you can do this in communication strategy. You can do this with word of mouth. We had a funny example that we heard of where the leadership team of a company wrote down at least one if-then plan on a big cardboard board. They held it above their head. They photographed it, and they just distributed these pictures of leaders with their if-then plans, being role models, explaining what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. And these new core behaviors really became ingrained in the culture faster. So in terms of implementation, you need some dedicated time for this. And it could be a hands-on facilitation, trainer-trainer sessions. You can also do this through cheat sheets if you don't have that much time. But make sure that everyone understands the basic science behind this, how the brain forms habits. You can refer to a webinar for that as well. Track, schedule follow-up sessions. Make sure you have a nice pulse of these behaviors are actually continuing, how often they are they becoming habits already? Do people feel a lot of effort when asserting them, or do they feel like it's already their bread and butter? These are all interesting points of both qualitative and quantitative data that you can collect to see if you're going in the right direction. And of course, engage with experts. There are behavioral scientists that are specialized in habit formation that can help you seek out the right behaviors, provide the right context that you can spot, and also engineer these if-then plans in such a way that they will increasingly get to behavioral adoption over time and sustained change. So basically, that's what it is. If-then planning really helps you find the right context, make the behavior as clear and concise and specific as possible, simplify its execution, and most importantly, if the roof is on fire, if everyone is yelling, stress is high, these are the things that you will remember, because these if-then plans are becoming ingrained in the minds of your leaders, of your managers, of every person whose behavior needs to change. All right, well, I would say give it a go, and we'll see you next time, and keep experimenting.